At what point did Argentina realize they made a huge mistake attacking the Falkland Islands? The Falklands War, a calculated gamble, not a military misstep. For many, the invasion of the Falkland Islands is seen as a strategic blunder. However, for the military junta ruling Argentina in 1982, the mistake was understood from the very beginning. They didn't invade to win a long-term war, they invaded to save their own skins from a rising tide of domestic anger. Won the diversionary war, uniting a divided nation. The junta was aware that the Argentine people were exhausted by military rule, economic collapse, and the horrific human rights abuses of the dirty war. By invoking the nationalistic cause of the Islas Malvinas, the regime sought a common cause to unify the country. The goal: prolong the regime's life by making economic suffering secondary to national pride. The parallel: this mirrors many CIA-backed coups of the 20th century, where military leaders relied on aggressive nationalism to suppress internal dissent. 2. The miscalculation of American mediation. The junta's huge mistake wasn't believing they could defeat the British military, it was believing the United States would stop the British from fighting. Having been bolstered by U.S. support during their rise to power, the junta expected Washington to act as a neutral intermediary. They anticipated a nationalistic show-off followed by a U.S. brokered ceasefire that would leave Argentina with a diplomatic win. 3. Thatcher's resolve versus Reagan's diplomacy. As the declassified memos show, Ronald Reagan initially urged Margaret Thatcher to show magnanimity to avoid Argentine humiliation. He feared a total collapse of the junta would lead to chaos or a leftist pivot in South America. Thatcher's response was legendary and uncompromising. She rejected Reagan's appeals for a contact group or joint peacekeeping, famously comparing the situation to an invasion of Alaska. For Thatcher, this wasn't just a colonial dispute, it was a matter of national sovereignty that required a total Argentine surrender. 4. The final gamble fails. The junta knew they couldn't win without American backing or mediation. They ignored the tactical risks because the internal enemy, the Argentine people, posed a greater immediate threat to their power than the British Royal Navy did. In the end, the gamble failed. The whitewashing of their criminal activities through a military campaign didn't work. When the surrender came on June 14, 1982, the shock of the defeat contrasted with weeks of state-controlled media reporting victories was the final nail in the coffin for the military regime. Key takeaway: the invasion wasn't an accidental error, it was a cynical political maneuver. The junta realized it was a mistake the moment they gave the order, but they were more afraid of their own citizens than they were of a war 8,000 miles from London.